Curtis Brooks? What can you tell me about him, and what kind of role will he have as a running back for you guys?
You know what? He's a kid that's come in and he's been with us for about a month now this summer, and has shown some good things. You know, he's got a lot to learn. Like, got to learn the offense, learn everything. Understand our culture and what it takes to be a Tar Heel and all those things, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he does.
Would you consider him like a recruited walk-on type?
No,
we gave him a scholarship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coach, coming off the last season, what were some of the conversations like with the coaching staff and the players heading into this season? As far as turning the page.
Yeah, well, I think the probably the most important thing we talked about is that we didn't want to forget what happened. You know, that I didn't want to put it behind us. You know, I wanted it to be something that was focused on. I wanted everybody to remember exactly what their stomach felt like each and every time things didn't go the way we wanted them, whatever the reasons were. And to make sure we learned from everything that happened. You know, of course, we went back and broke everything down and, you know, analyzed everything. But the main thing was I wanted them to know what that felt like. You know,
things were ugly after the Detroit Bowl game, maybe for different reasons than last year. How do you liken that situation and how you were able to turn it around to what you're obviously hoping to do here?
Yeah, well, last year wasn't my first year as a football coach, so I mean, you deal with adversity every single year, some more, some less. I mean, but you know, in every one of those scenarios, you're learning something, and you're taking that and you're applying it to adversity in the future. You know, and so I mean, the things that happened in 14 were a little bit different, but anytime you have adversity, you're learning how to overcome it. You know, and then in 15 we had a really good year. You know, so our guys learned from those experiences, and I look for our guys to do the exact same thing. I look for them to have learned. I look for us, each and every kid, to be better than they were last year. I'll be a better coach. I'll be a better husband, a better father. You know, our assistant coaches will be better. Everybody will be better because of what happened to us last year.
A few of us got a chance to speak with Bubba Cunningham last week and about the study that you guys did about the injuries last year. And among the many things that he said is that there would be some changes in how fall camp goes this year, how you guys do some things. Can you share with us some of the changes that you're going to make as a result of that study?
Nope.
Coach?
I mean,
okay.
I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do.
Well, no, just some of the changes that might guard against injuries or having.
Well, then it makes it sound like that we before that we're doing things to incur injuries. You know, and that's the way that makes that sound. And so I'm not going to. Well, I mean, we were doing the same things last year that we were doing in 15 and 14 and 13 and 12 and 11 and 10 and 9 and 8 ever since I've been a head coach. And we've never run across injuries like that. So I'm not going to blame it on the way we trained or the way we, you know. Now, are we going to tweak things to try to make things better? Yeah, we're going to do that. But we do that every single year. I mean, we analyze every part of our program, and then we always tweak it. I mean, but I don't want to make it sound like we're making a bunch of changes just because we had some injuries last year, because that's not true.
Well, let me ask this: in the study that you guys did, as extensive as it was, did you learn anything that maybe you didn't?
Yeah, I learned that it wasn't one common denominator. You know, it wasn't from everything from it wasn't the field conditions, it wasn't the actual training that we were doing. It was a variety of things, if you would say it that way. And so, yeah, we're going to tweak some things, and I can't guarantee that that's going to be the answer. But we're going to make the best educated decision that we can, and I'm going to make that decision, and then I'm going to live with it.
With those tweaks, are there more attention paid to stretching or strength conditioning and how these things go, and rest, and yoga, and that kind of stuff?
Well, but we were doing all those things beforehand. So, you know, I think the biggest emphasis that we're making with our players since that time is how important the rest and recovery phase is, you know, and making sure that when it's time to sleep, that you're sleeping, you know, that your body has the chance to recover. But I don't, you know, again, you guys, I have never put last season all on injuries, and I'm not going to.
You spoke so passionately Monday about how important the game of football is to you, and I think you even likened it to what makes America America.
It is, yeah.
Does that then sharpen your focus on wanting to find ways to constantly be bettering the game, or does it make it tougher for you to see realities too?
No, it is. You know, I do believe we're involved in the greatest game there is on earth. I really do, and I do believe it's what makes our country so great. And I'm passionate about that. And the things that we change year in and year out in tweaking the game for player safety, all of those things, I think are good for the game. And I said it in there. I think the game is safer right now than it's ever been in the history of the game. That doesn't mean you're going to eliminate all the injuries. It's not possible. But the game is better than it's ever been. And I believe the game's under attack right now. I really do. And if we're not careful, we're going to lose what the game is all about.
Who do you think is, to use your word, attacking the game?
Blaming us?
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming anybody. I blame a groundswell of data that is tweaked one way or the other, because I can take the data and I can make it look one way, you can take the data and make it look another way, and whoever's presenting it is the one that gets to say so. And are there some things that are negative about the game? Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But again, I think as you look over time, I can tell you just in my lifetime, from when I played the game early on to where we are today, here's a huge difference in the way the game is played and the way athletes are taken care of.
You said the game's under attack. Is there anything you fear might happen?
Oh yes, I fear that the game will get pushed so far to one extreme that you won't recognize the game 10 years from now. That's what I worry about. And I do believe that if it gets to that point, that our country goes down too.
What's the one kind of, I guess, primal, what's the one thing that cannot go away in your mind? Is it you're worried about losing contact as an element of the game?
Well, if we go to touch football, the game's definitely changed, and the game will not be as physical. The game will not be as tough as it is, A few years back, I had an opportunity to ask a three-star general, I had a question for him. I said, what does it make? What is it that makes our country, our military, superior to every other military in the world? He was like, that's easy. We're the only football-playing nation in the world. And he said, most of all of our troops have grown up, have played the game at some point in their life, at some level, and the lessons that they learn from that game is what makes us who we are.
How is it different than rugby?
I don't know rugby, so I couldn't tell you that. I just know they don't wear a helmet. So, but I don't. I apologize. I just don't know the game.
So, what are the biggest lessons your kids learn from you once they leave UNC?
Well, one, I hope they learn how to be men, great fathers, great husbands. I think that's part of what has me in this game is the influence that we have on young men and how we can impact their lives. I mean, when we leave this earth, they're going to say, yeah, he won this many games, he lost this many games, and eventually that's going to be forgotten. But the lives that I've impacted is really the legacy that I leave and the generations to come that are impacted that way. So just making them better men, better fathers, better husbands, better citizens. I think that's really important in what we do as football coaches. It's so much greater. And then the lessons that they're learning on the field and the lessons they're learning in the weight room or in training and all those are the lessons that are going to carry them through the rest of their life. They will be able to rely on those lessons every single day when they get out of bed. Every single day they'll be able to draw on something that they learned in the game of football that will make their day better.
What do you make of the landscape of the Coastal Division right now, especially comparing it to the other side of the conference?
I think it's very strong. I mean, I think it's probably as strong as it's ever been. You've got, first of all, you got great coaches in the Coastal Division. You look at it, it's changed tremendously from when I first got in the league. And I think you got a lot of great coaches who do a great job with their teams, and it's ultra competitive every single week.
Anthony Ratliff Williams told me the angriest he's ever seen you was maybe last year when you got so fed up that people weren't taking practice seriously enough. And he said a lot of the young guys just didn't know the depth of intensity that you want to see from them.
Yeah, I think part of, there was a lot of things that caused my frustration last year, and maybe there were some times when that boiled over and maybe I didn't handle it the way I should have, but I think it's very important, and our older guys, have learned this over time, that they're responsible for teaching the culture to our youth. It's not really me. It's not our assistant coaches. It's the older players are responsible for teaching the culture to the youth. And, they have to understand that, and they have to relish that responsibility and take care of it. And there were some situations where we didn't have that. And, I guess the biggest thing is because when I preach, hey, just because you're young doesn't mean you're going to contribute to this team. Whether or not everybody took that to heart and believed that, and then they got stuck out there because of some guy who went down and they weren't necessarily prepared, they hurt the whole football team. So, no, you're good.
Just to follow up something you said earlier, if football were to go to one super extreme, how would it change America? You said change America. How would that?
I think, I don't know the real answer to that. I just think that we will lose a lot as a nation. I think we'll lose a lot because I think what the game teaches, I think we'll lose so much of that. I really do. Again, I think that's one of the things that makes us such a great nation.
Going back to what you were just saying to Mark, some of your older guys that could have maybe helped in that process last year went down. Do you have enough older guys that have been in the program long enough now that you feel like you have enough there that can kind of keep that message going?
Well, you never have enough, and I don't want to just say it's the older guys. It's guys that have been in the program. So just because you're a sophomore doesn't mean you can't teach a younger guy what it means to be a Tar Heel and how we do things and what's expected of you. So you don't have to wait till you're a senior to do that. And so, leading is influencing, and there doesn't have to just be one leader on your football team. There can be multiple leaders, but the key is making sure that we're all good teammates. We can't all be Chiefs. There's got to be Indians, right? And you got to be good teammates. And so that means if one guy's talking to the team, everybody's got to be listening. Everybody's got to be paying attention. Whether you really believe what he's saying or not, doesn't matter. If we've decided as a team that's the route we're going, then everybody's got to pull in that direction.
Coach, one of the
young guys that you have is Javonte Williams out of Wallace Rose Hill.
All right, start over. I'm sorry.
Sorry. One of the young guys you have is Javonte Williams out of Wallace Rose Hill, 4-time state champion. You got to see him in the spring. What did you like? And with this new rule with being able to redshirt guys, are you more willing to play him?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Javonte. First of all, he comes in, he graduates from high school early, when he's there in the spring and he acts like he's a junior or a senior. He's very mature. He's very mature in the way he handles himself. He's very mature in the way he approaches every day. He was always badgering the coaches the day before something that was going to be implemented, so he would know it before it was put in. So he's very conscientious of being the best player that he can be. So, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how we utilize the new redshirt rule with all of our guys, and he could be impacted by that as well.
I'm pretty sure you'll tell me.
How do you become a better fourth quarter team than a second half team than you guys were last year?
Yeah, so one, you got to be in great shape. You gotta take care of your body. So you got to be healthy and you got to be ready to go. That's one thing I think that's very important. You got to be in really good shape, and then you have to have a mindset. More than anything, you got to have a mindset about finishing someone. You put yourself in that position. You can't just coast now. You got to step on their neck and you got to finish them off.
Larry, unless construction guys do a superhuman effort over the next couple of weeks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm unique. What can I tell you?
It's nice.
But unless something crazy happens over the next... What's that? And a margarita.
He's what makes America great.
Yeah, no doubt.
You guys are going to be practicing at Keenan again this year. How big of a disadvantage is that? When you don't have the full field, you got guys working on one thing over here and over here.
Yeah, you'd like to have the space, but unfortunately right now, and until our practice facility is finished, we won't have that space. And so we'll do what we've been doing. We'll use one field. And, the logistics of it won't be as difficult because we've done it. And we did it all spring ball. And so our guys know what to do. It will not be as near as disruptive as it's been in the past for our guys.
Is it a handicap?
Is it a
handicap?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Coach, do you expect to have Antonio Williams available this season?
That's up to the NCAA. We filed a waiver with them, and now we're at the mercy of their decision. And so we'll wait and see whenever that comes back.
And what are you most excited about on the defensive line? Obviously,
we got a bunch of guys that have experience. We got guys that have played the game. from Jalen Dalton to, Aaron Crawford to Malik Carney, Tamon Fox. We got guys that have experience. And so I am excited about that experience. I'm coming over there.
This morning, the Supreme Court's decision on sports gambling.
Yeah.
And the optics of that. What's your thought?
Yeah, well, I don't think the optics are very good, and whatever we choose to do as as college football, I think it's very important that we keep gambling out of college football, in every aspect of it. I think there's enough pressure on our players as it is right now that they don't need any added pressure.
Well, along those same lines, Larry Fedora talked about possibly the need for a national injury policy to address some of those potential concerns. How do you
if they come up with a national policy, then I will adhere to that national policy. As of right now, we don't have a policy in the ACC. We don't have a gentleman's agreement anymore. As of this spring, so I don't anticipate there will be one until a national policy is put into effect.
Were you disappointed that gentleman's agreement was done away with?
Was I disappointed? Oh no, I was an advocate to do away with it.
Tom Herman, famous, I'm sure you'll tell me you didn't see him, but he was asked at the Big 12 Media Days how many kind of game-breaking players Texas had, and he thought long and hard and then said some. Do you feel like you have enough guys on your team in this league as it currently made up to be a winning?
Oh yeah, we definitely have enough players on our team to win football games. We got guys that can be explosive. We really do. Do you have enough? You always want more. You want one at every position. And some guys are more adept to making plays than others. You think about what Anthony Ratliff came in and did last year. Once he got the opportunity, he exploded. And so there's a guy that's taking advantage of the opportunities presented before him, and so that's a great example as we talk to our team about being ready, and taking advantage of that opportunity when it comes, not sitting around going, man, I'm not getting my chance. No, when you get your chance, you got to make plays, and he did that. So, yeah, I think we got some other guys at the position, at receiver, that can make them plays for us. I know we have some running backs that can make them plays for us. So, yeah, I think we're okay where we need to be right now.
How about quarterback?
Blue shirt.
Thank you, sir. You've worked with.
You guys, I'll get to every question, I promise.
You've worked with Florida State offensive coordinator Walt Bell at a few different stops. Have you been surprised at how quickly he's risen up the ranks, and how well do you think he'll do at Florida State?
No, I'm not surprised. I knew early on that Walt was very talented. Walt is all ball. There's no golf, there's no hunting, there's no fishing, there's no hiking, it's just ball. That's all he's got. That's it. That's his life. And he is dedicated to it, he's committed to it. And, I anticipate that he'll do very well there.
How did you come to know him? Was it the Middle Tennessee State ties?
Actually, the very first time I heard about Walt, I left Middle Tennessee. Walt wasn't there yet. About a couple of years afterwards, the quarterback coach that I had, his name was Alex Robbins. Alex had stayed at Middle Tennessee State. He called me a couple of years later and he said, "Hey, I got this receiver. He's not much of a player, but I think he's going to be a really good football coach." And he said because that's what he wants to do, and he's good. He's good with it. And so that was my first introduction to it.
With two quarterbacks that have got experience from last year, how do you manage that situation going in? And are they going into the fall even, or is there one that kind of is ahead of the other?
Well, there may be one that's a little bit ahead of the other, and we haven't come up with any measuring stick that says this guy's an inch above the other. Right now, they're still battling it out until somebody separates. Until somebody separates, there's two quarterbacks. Eventually, if someone separates, then there's one quarterback. So they get to determine that.
Last year at this time, you had four guys that were getting reps to try to do. Is it a little easier with two guys, especially if you know what they can do?
You're going to split. You're going to get. They're going to get 50% of the reps then. Or probably 45% of the reps, and the other two guys are going to get a fewer amount of reps. So they're going to get more reps. They're going to get better, and they've gotten more reps, through the off season. So, my challenge for them was, okay, when we start spring ball, I want you to be better than you were at the end of the season, and both of them were that. And then at the end of spring ball, it was okay. Now you're better than you were at the beginning of spring. So when we start camp, you better be better than you were at the end of spring ball. And if you are, then you're going to get to compete for the job. If you're not, you won't get to compete for the job.
How much does the way you attack defenses change or not, depending on which guy you end up picking for the job?
Well, both of them are unique. Both of them are different, and so that would determine how we attack a defense. Because the whole offense is premised around, taking advantage of the skill set that the kids have and hiding the weaknesses that they have. And so, each one of them is different, and each one of them we would do different things with. I would rather not put that out there as far as exactly what we're going to do with each one, but it would be different.
How basically is Chaz and Elliott? I mean, what's kind of the unique skill set of one versus the other? You say they're both unique.
I would say that Chaz is more explosive as a runner. Nathan throws probably a more catchable ball in certain situations. They both can make all the throws, and so then it boils down to decision making. You got to make good decisions, and they know the number one thing is going to be who takes care of the football. If you don't take care of the football, you're not going to be the quarterback.
Do you expect this team to score more than last year?
Yes.
Aaron said that the defensive interior up front, the tackles there, as deep as any time since he's been here.
Yep.
Is this as deep as maybe any time since you've been here?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, with actual guys that have played and guys that we feel comfortable, so the rotation will be very comfortable for us this season. So
you don't use the comfort word very often, but you are fairly comfortable with that group.
I'm more comfortable with the depth that we have right there than probably any other position on the team.
Do you expect that unit to lead the defense?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, actually, I would say, like right now, Malik Carney is the guy that has become the leader on our football team, and right behind him is Aaron Crawford, on the defense. So there's two guys that have played extensively that everybody has respect for on both sides of the ball. And there's a lot of times that a guy can't transcend from one side to the other, with leadership. But Malik's, he's been able to do that.
Any concerns about Keenan game day atmosphere now that they'll be sitting in comfortable chairs along the sideline?
No, I think it's going to be greater. I think it's going to be greater for our fans, and so I think our whole game day environment will be much better.
Going from the West Coast to the East, starting in Cal, then going to ECU, you have some guys that haven't done that before. So what do you?
I haven't done that before.
What do you do then to just kind of ease the process and make it not such a disadvantage?
Well, I've done a lot of research. I've talked to a lot of people, sleep specialists, all these, on different ideas and different things. And so we'll implement some of those things. We'll probably go out a day early when we go to Berkeley, and then we will make sure that we get a good 8-hour sleep on the way back. And that's it needs to be not interrupted sleep. So that's important to us. We'll use certain glasses that cut out the blue lights, and all those things on the trip out there, and so we got all kinds of little things that we plan on doing.
Strip kicks and sky kicks, new kickoff. Do you foresee a lot of creativity and protections moving forward?
I do, because I think a lot of it's the unknown right now. Where nobody really knows the effects of this rule on the game and how everybody's going to address it. But I do anticipate there being less kicks in the air, because, when the way it was last year, if you had a kicker that put the ball on the goal line, there's a good chance you're going to pin that team inside the 25, and that was kind of the thing. Don't kick it out of the end zone if you can, kick it to the goal line and get your, team down there and pin them inside the 25. So not many kickoff teams want to just give up the 25-yard line. So I think there will be a lot of discussion and a lot of, guys working with kickers on different type of balls that they can kick.
Off the wall one for you. My wife's 40th birthday is coming up. How do I not screw this up?
Well, let's see. I've been married 30 years this summer now, so I'm probably pretty good at this. Not really. That's hard for me to say because I don't know your wife. My wife doesn't have very high expectations for me. And
similar.
So, like I said, we've been married 30 years, so she's used to. I've been disappointing the same woman for 30 years. So it's she just knows not to expect much.
Okay.
So you mentioned Antonio Williams. You guys asked for a waiver?
We have, yeah. Yeah.
Do you know when you haven't got in?
No, they don't give you a time frame on that. They just get around to it when they feel comfortable.
If he is eligible, what does he kind of bring to the table?
Oh, he's a guy that can go. And I tell you, the other thing he's doing is he's becoming a leader behind the scenes on our football team, which he's kind of evolved into that this summer. Listening to our strength coaches, and they're like, man, that guy's got something to him. I mean, he's if he's able to play this year, he's going to bring a lot to the team. So yeah, I mean, he can run. We all know that.
He's kind of from the Charlotte metro area here, not too far away. How important is this area becoming in recruiting?
This area is critical. I mean, it's there's a lot of great football players in this area, and we've got to always recruit it hard and do well in the area. And there's a lot of Tar Heels in the area, so that's important to us.
Coach, it's no secret that you have a clause in your contract that addresses the indoor practice facility. So I just want to ask you, are you pleased with the progress it's made, and what do you think it'll bring having that?
I'm pleased with the process of it. I mean, it's never as fast as you want it to be, but I think anytime you do any construction, if you know anything about construction, you always get promised something, and it never works out that way. So I mean, there's a lot of variables involved in that, but my main deal is when it's done, that it's just done right, and it's really good. Because we have something very special that they're building, and so I just want to make sure whatever that completion date is, that it's done right, and it will be something that will be. I think it'll be the best in the league. I really do.
Larry, go ahead.
A little bit earlier, we were talking about explosive players, and you mentioned Anthony. How does he compare to some of the guys, both in the receiving game and the return game, that you've had in the past, like a Switzer?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Ant led the nation in kickoff returns last year, and I will say, I think since I've been at Carolina, we've had 16 touchdowns or return touchdowns, which I think ties one other team in the country in the last 7 years or 6 years. And so, we've got pretty good experience back there with guys understanding what it takes to take balls back. I mean, but you compare him to Switzer, two different type of guys. Switzer wasn't a kickoff return guy. Switzer was more of a make-you-miss guy. Ant's more of a speed guy, one cut, hit it full speed, which you have to be to play that position. You can't dance around on a kickoff return. And so, he has the ability to take it anytime.
Were you surprised at how quickly he was able to sort of break onto the scene and do that straight off the bat?
Nah, we had T.J. Logan right before that. He was pretty special doing it too, but Ant was always backing up T.J., and, I could see it in practice. I could see it. It was coming, I thought, when T.J. leaves, we're going to miss T.J., but Ant's going to have his chance too, and he's going to do some special things, and he is.
The players talked about coming into the season with a chip on their shoulder.
I hope so.
What type of pressure do you put on yourself heading into this season after last season?
The same pressure I put on myself every season that I've ever coached the game of football. The pressure doesn't ramp up for me one way or the other. I can't put more pressure on myself than I put on myself. Right? It's just the way I'm built. That's the way I am. I mean, I worry about everything all the time, and I want it to be perfect. And when it's not, I'm not happy. And so I'm not happy very often. In fact, I'm never happy. But that's just the way I'm built. It's the only way I know. I don't know any different. So, I'm glad that our guys have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, they got to have a bad taste in their mouth, and they got to want to get rid of that taste. And that's just extra motivating factors for them.
Another Charlotte guy, Dami Brown, obviously a true freshman. You mentioned he may be a punt returner, and he's obviously going to be in the rotation at wide receiver. What do you like about him so far? What has he shown so far?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Diami was another one that came in and, probably exceeded my expectations for his first semester there. Again, he was another guy that came in that was very mature, learned the offense extremely quick, and then went out and made plays. And it wasn't one of those things where he was a flash here and then 4 days later he was a flash over here. No, it was consistent playmaking throughout spring, which made me go, okay, wow, this kid's going to help us. We'll see when we get through camp where he fits into everything, but I anticipate him helping us this year.
To compare to a receiver you've had in the past at UNC in terms of his athleticism and whatnot?
He, out of all the guys, he probably reminds me a little bit more of Mac than all of them right now.